with a real king right here, MCing, man. Like this,
I know,
it
I
does
know,
not,
and it
bro.
and then probably, like I said, we're probably gonna have to listen through that Common and Pete Rock album too to see if we getting that same type of production and lyrics, man.
You can't tell me which one's better.
What you said?
I've had discussions about it. You can't tell me. You can't decide what's better, the lyrics or the beats. That's
You
what
talking
makes
about
that
on
album.
this album?
No, on the auditorium joint, the Common
Oh,
Pete
the
Rock.
I yeah, I haven't really came to grips with that because I think Common to me is kind of when this came out, it was such a surprise and such a to me, I feel like this album is Common's best album, right?
Yeah,
Production wise, lyrical wise. A lot of people says um, the Like Water for Chocolate album, um, Resurrection, Can I Borrow a Dollar, a better albums to be. Some people even say Finding Forever is better albums. I don't think so. But even after Finding Forever, I just feel like Common kind of he tried to continue the story, but I just feel like sometimes that production was what was missing. It didn't make the album complete or cohesive, right?
yeah,
If you definitely listen to those albums after, and then he came out with the auditorium, where people say he kind of got back on track a little bit.
yeah,
I'm interested. Maybe I need to go. I'm going to go back and probably listen to it again to kind of see how I feel about it. Um, but I'm all. It seems like when Common puts out an album, I'm so excited to hear. Are we getting a B part two? That's mostly, and I know that's wrong to do to an artist, right?
yeah.
But and I think I feel like I do this with Kanye. Maybe a lot of people do this with Kanye. Are we getting that run that Kanye had?
Uh-huh.
With College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, My Dark Twisted Fantasy, and some sorts of Life of Pablo. Some of it.
Yeah,
Are we getting that back?
808s and Heartbreak too.
So I kind of 808s and Heartbreaks, right?
Yeah,
I kind of put that into a category and into a section of like he was trying something different like Jesus. I didn't like Jesus, but I like 808s and Heartbreaks. I
yeah,
felt like that was something he really did and really did it well as far as the production, lyrics, the vulnerability, the emotions, all that. I think that album was really good too,
yeah.
really good. But does it measure up to the other albums? I don't think so. But I do think it's a good album. A
Um,
lot of people don't like that album.
with the Pete Rock joint, there's things that Pete Rock does that sit inside the beat that make it unbelievable.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Now, do you think? And
that's one.
I assume you've heard the album already. Do you think Common and Pete Rock have the same chemistry as Common and Kanye West?
I think they have a whole different chemistry.
Okay,
Yeah, I literally have that album on repeat in the car.
really? Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So it looks like we may have to do a listen through of that album. Um, but yeah, people said that the Pete Rock and I have heard it, but I haven't really sat down like this here to kind of really diagnose the lyrics and production and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, he's got a track on there with I hope I'm saying the artist names right. I apologize for that. Potnos. Really dope track. I like that track a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he's a dope artist too. But again, you know, maybe I do need to sit down and really do an album listen through for that and really try to,
I mean,
diagnose the lyrics.
I think B is a better album, but I think
Okay.
this is a different vibe. Yeah. For
Okay, so where do you compare the auditorium to Can I Borrow a Dollar and Like Water for Chocolate?
well, for me, like Water for Chocolate is at the top.
Uh,
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 Finding,
uh,
I think Finding Forever sits at two. This one,
wow.
this one sits at three.
You think
Uh,
Finding Forever is better than this?
like only because there's certain tracks on there that kind of resonate with me.
Okay.
Um, of like in a different way versus this album. I like this album a lot, but it
Okay.
was just joints on Finding Forever that really was like, oh man, this is it
Okay.
right now.
I think for
uh,
me, I think for me it's B, then Finding Forever, then like Water for Chocolate,
Yeah.
then well, let me take that
Well,
back. Be Find It Forever.
being a
I'm
like
sorry.
being a production junkie, I think that's why I lean towards like Water for Chocolate because Jay
Okay.
Dilla made that, and the Soul Quarians made the album. Like
Right, right, right.
you, you know, you got D'Angelo, you got
Allow
the Bilal, you got the drummer from the Roots. Oh, for some reason,
Questlove.
Questlove. You
Yep.
got, I mean, you got countless artists that are playing on that record that
I
are like,
know, I know. For me, I went back and listened to that album. I don't. This is my problem with that album, and not the sidetrack. I think my problem
yeah.
with that album it's not it doesn't sound sonically as well as this. I just feel like
Oh,
this
that's a
album.
good point.
I think this album sounds
Mm,
so alive, and I think like Water for Chocolate sounds like sounds like Resurrection to me. It's
mm.
just straight straight hip hop, right? And I'm so glad he came out with The Light on
Yeah,
that album because I feel like The Light, that track really makes that album, especially the placement of that track on the album,
yeah.
really brings out, a little bit for that album for me. But I feel like B and even Finding Forever, I feel like Finding Forever is a little bit
Is Finding Forever Kanye produced?
some of the tracks. I think that's when I think let me double check. But yeah, I think Finding Forever was kind of when they kind of had a little bit of a falling out. But let me see if the whole album is produced by Kanye West. Let me double check that. Yeah, we got primarily Kanye West. Uh, yeah.
I mean, you drive a really good point there about like sonically how the album is alive. Um,
Finding Forever to me, I feel like again B is kind of a little bit of a movie for me when it comes to Common, and I feel like Finding Forever that is like the TV show based off of the movie. I'm serious. I feel like B is kind of like that. B is kind of like we'll say, and I know and I know people are gonna crush me in the comments. B to me, as far as Common is like Black Panther. That the cultural of how that movie became alive. And,
yeah,
like, Finding Forever for me is like, Star Wars all these Star Wars TV shows, right? They're depicting TV shows based off of the movies, the Star Wars movies. So I feel like to me, I feel like B is so alive, it's so culturally, and I feel like Finding Forever is a little bit of we're getting kind of how sometimes you're watching a TV show and you're into it, and then it's like the TV show is over. You gotta wait the next episode again, and
the
that's the
next
way I
season.
feel about Finding Forever. It's kind of um, like it's not as alive as maybe we do need to do a listen through a comment too. I mean, the Finding Forever album too. I don't think it's as alive as B, you know, but he has some tracks on here that I felt like were they were good. I feel like Finding Forever is his second best album, right?
Mm.
And I do so for me, I got B, I got Finding Forever. Um, I kind of bunch Resurrection, Can I Borrow a Dollar, and like Water for Chocolate, kind of in the same vein.
Yeah,
I can't.
they were kind of they did kind of sit together.
Yeah, they're kind of in the same vein. Um, and probably if I do another listen through of Auditorium, I will probably have Auditorium after Finding Forever because I feel like even listening to that album, even I have listened to that album, and I do feel like I still put that like Water for Chocolate over like Water for Chocolate to me is just I don't know, man. I don't I don't know. I just there's not enough tracks on there for me like The Light. The Light is kind of brings that album alive for me. And I just feel like it doesn't sound well sonically to
So
me. To me,
so like the things that Jay Dilla does on like Water for Chocolate, people are still studying. Like literally, someone wrote a book about
I know.
what Jay Dilla did on that. On
I
that
know,
album.
but I know, but I don't think it's just because of like Water for Chocolate. I think people overall study J Dilla. Overall study J. It ain't just
Yeah,
because of like Water for Chocolate.
no, no, no.
And even
What I'm saying, like his techniques are in that album.
right, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm not, and by all means, I'm not saying like Water for Chocolate is a bad album. No,
yeah, yeah,
I'm talking about in terms of the artistry for Common.
yeah,
I just feel like B sound it's just he just sounds alive. He
yeah.
sounds rejuvenated. He sounds energized. Like Water for Chocolate, just to me sounds like he sounds comfortable on that album, right?
Mm,
I again, the production on there is he's got some legendary production on there for me,
yeah.
but I just feel like Common was very comfortable on that album. The
Mm,
Light, he was out of his comfort zone.
mm.
If you listen to that track compared to the other tracks on that album, even there's a track on there called uh let's see,
Is it Thelonious? Is that the one you're thinking of?
Thelonious. Yes,
Yeah,
Thelonious. Thelonious is another track. I felt like I was like, man, again, it really brought out that album for me.
yeah.
What's the name of that track? There's another track on there. I'm just kind of looking at the track listing here. Hold on. There's another track. Time traveling. Time traveling was kind of, it felt like
That was it felt like a prequel to Electric Circuit.
it did. I felt like I felt like it was a little bit of a prequel to B, a little bit. I mean to B, a
Interesting.
little bit. But Cold Blooded was another good track. I like Cold Blooded, even though I felt like that was a Roots track. I felt like that was a Roots track,
Yeah.
and oh, of course, D'Angelo and Questlove did that beat, so that makes a lot of sense. Um, there's another track on here. The Sixth Sense. I felt like the Sixth Sense was a good track. Um,
That was great.
Thelonious, as we said, Thelonious was a great track, and
Six Sense is like what birthed the joint that we were listening to on the B album, where they were in the trial and what's her name was in the.
oh, Faithful,
Yeah, I feel like if you didn't have Six Sense, you wouldn't have that.
Faithful,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
But
Like that
again,
storyline that has a a twisted ending. You know, I love
right
it.
now, I will say this: a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people. There are some tracks on here a lot of people didn't really like from B. A lot of people don't like Shot City. They felt like it was a little bit of like, why did you, we've heard this track from you before. And a lot of people didn't like the food, right? A lot of people don't like that track. But I want to say like Water for Chocolate. I felt like I don't know, man. Common just it's just I feel like these three albums, like Water for Chocolate, um, Can I Borrow a Dollar, and Resurrection. It's kind of like just we're getting. I feel like I've heard this before from Common.
Mm.
I feel like I've heard it before from Common.
It's a great point. It's like this is the Common we got before he became
Right.
a superstar.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And actually, I want to say this, right? I don't think it was great production, but Common came out with an album a little bit after, I think it was 2017. He was part of a group called August Green. Does that sound familiar?
It does. Is it the beautiful thing? Is it that one?
No, that was before. That was a little bit before Beautiful Thing. I didn't like Beautiful Thing album. I felt like I'm not even gonna get on that album. I didn't like Electric Circus, but August Green's album, that was the one he had with what's the guy from Robert Glass? It was him, Robert Glasper, and Keith. What's his name? Riggins. Is it Keith Riggins?
I don't. I don't know.
Yeah, but the production on that album was very like Robert Glasper type of production. If you're into that, and I felt like that album was very good. It's a little bit of political. It's something that I won't say it's like good as far as like the perfection album, but I felt like it was different for him, and I felt like it was good to hear Common in like a group setting, right?
I don't think I've listened to any of those albums. I have not.
Oh,
I,
he's got one album, August Green.
oh, okay.
One album.
I, don't,
I felt like it was a nice surprise. I always kind of go back to that album, but
I think I only heard like one song off of it. but I don't think I heard the album for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. But again, like Water for Chocolate for me was it's kind of um I'm gonna say it's probably third or fourth on my list. And Auditorium, if you're hyping it up like you say you are, and I need to kind of really sit down and listen to it, it's probably gonna be third on my list. It's probably gonna go above like Water for Chocolate.
interesting, interesting. I mean, not for I mean, not obviously not for me, but yeah. I mean, it's a dope album for sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I like
I
it.
I think I think I think you talking about like okay, Auditorium? Okay. Do you put it above like Water for Chocolate?
No, 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 no.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. You still don't put it above like Water for Chocolate.
not at all. No,
Wow. What about
I don't put it above the B album either. Like
okay.
it's still it
But you
still
put
has
Finding Forever
like
above what like Water for Chocolate.
no.
Okay. So you got like Water for Chocolate still one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So what are your thoughts on Electric Circus?
yeah. I think um we I mean this is a very unpopular opinion,
Okay.
but that's okay.
Right. It's okay. It's your opinion.
I feel like we are still catching up to that album, which is funny. I know people are definitely gonna be like, "Yo, Zeus is out of his mind," but I was watching this interview with Missy Elliott, and she was like, "Hey, there's music that I don't want to put out because I know it's not cohesive to the rest of my music, and I'm gonna get
Right.
so much backlash that people are not gonna be able to understand it. And I think that's what Electric Circus is for Common. I felt like he
Ooh,
put
she
this
said
out.
that.
Huh?
She said that?
She didn't say the common part.
Oh, okay, okay,
I
okay,
just felt
okay.
like her saying that Common had the courage to do that. Do you know what
Okay.
I'm saying? He had the
Okay.
courage to say, "Hey, I'm going to do this album that has nothing to do that's completely incohesive with any of the stuff I've ever done." And I've listened to it, and I'm like, man, there's some stuff said on here. There's some beats on here that don't sound like anything that has ever been put out since or after. and
Okay.
you had some great musicians on there. So I think like it's one of those albums. It's
That album was primarily produced by Neptunes, right?
I believe
Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I need to. I've always kind of Electric Circus. Really, the only song I paid attention to was the track he had with Mary J, which I feel like is a classic track. Um, like I told you before, Erica Badu was supposed to be on that track. Didn't really work out that way. But I will probably go back to that album, maybe, possibly. I don't think I'll do an album. Let's do that album. That album, I kind of just, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those albums where I didn't expect it from Common. I
yeah.
feel like, you know, I don't know. I just don't think
After we get off
Neptunes
this
is.
phone, call, I'm sorry to interrupt you. After we get off this phone call, I'm gonna literally get in the car and listen to it.
Oh,
and then
well,
and then
okay.
and then I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna text you and be like, "All right, no, this John was really trash," or
Right.
or
Right.
I stick to my guns.